One of the most heated debates surrounding Battlefield 6 isn't about weapon balance or map design, it's about cosmetics. And this isn't just another cosmetics rant. This is about the fundamental direction of the franchise and whether DICE actually understands what their player base wants. So here's what's happening. DICE has been making the rounds, promising that Battlefield 6 will stick to grounded cosmetics. One of the producers recently stated that while they want players to express themselves and have cool skins, it's important that things feel grounded. And that sounds pretty promising at first glance. The community response has been quite mixed so far, and you can't blame them given the current state of similar FPS games. On one side, you've got players already losing their minds over minor details, like there's been an outrage about purple tape on a Twitch promotional skin being too colorful for a Battlefield soldier. Some of the criticism might seem too much and too early, but it's understandable. We've watched this same pattern play out with other game developers. When cosmetics generate hundreds of millions in revenue, balancing authenticity with profit becomes incredibly difficult. And here's the thing that DICE doesn't seem to get. Nobody believes them anymore, because we've seen this before. Every major shooter starts with promises of restraint and authenticity. Then the first season drops, then the second. And before you know it, you're dealing with operators in crazy outfits carrying rainbow-colored assault rifles. Call of Duty went from military realism to having Snoop Dogg as a playable operator. Fortnite transformed from a zombie survival game into a pop culture crossover nightmare. Even games that promise to stay grounded gradually push boundaries because that's where the money is. The Battlefield 6 open beta was a revelation, but not for the obvious reasons. Yeah, the gameplay was solid, but the most important thing was the visual cohesion. Everyone looked like they belonged in the same world. Factions were instantly recognizable. Camouflage patterns made environmental sense. You could identify threats and allies at a glance without having to process whether that operator running toward you was on your team or not. The player engagement during the beta was massive. People were excited in a way they haven't been about Battlefield in years, and a huge part of that was the authentic military atmosphere that emerged naturally when everyone was wearing standard issue gear. We've been conditioned by the current gaming landscape to expect constant visual noise, bright colors, flashy effects, and unique character designs that scream for attention. The modern FPS market has trained us to think that visual stimulation equals engagement, yet the Battlefield 6 beta proved the opposite. When every soldier looks like they stepped out of the same military handbook, your brain can focus on what actually matters: tactics, positioning, and team coordination. But here's where DICE's promise actually creates a bigger problem. Even if they stick to military-inspired designs, we're still going to lose that visual cohesion that made the beta special. Look at the Phantom Edition skins they've already shown. Black and red tactical gear operators and M1 Abrams tanks with stylized paint schemes. These might be grounded in the sense that they still look military related, but they don't follow the authentic aesthetic that the game has in its default state. When your team becomes a rainbow of different camo patterns, gear configurations, and color schemes, even if they're all technically realistic, you lose that sense of being part of a cohesive military unit. Instead of soldiers of a certain faction, you become a collection of guys in cool tactical gear. If you enjoyed the video so far, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, as it really helps with the algorithm. There's also a gameplay problem that nobody wants to acknowledge. Cosmetic skins inevitably create competitive advantages and disadvantages. Some designs make players harder to spot in certain environments, and others turn them into walking targets. In a tactical shooter that's trying to remain immersive, these variables shouldn't exist. Your performance should be based on skill and strategy, not on whether you happen to equip a skin that blends better with a specific map's environment. We've seen this play out in other games. Certain operator skins become functionally pay-to-win or pay-to-lose scenarios. That's not what Battlefield should be about. Here's what needs to happen, and it's so obvious that I'm amazed that nobody at DICE has mentioned it publicly. Give players the option to disable custom cosmetics entirely. This is the perfect compromise. customize. Players who want to customize their characters get their cosmetics, and DICE gets their revenue stream. Players who prioritize immersion get to see everyone in default military uniforms. It's a win-win situation where everyone gets what they want. Some of you might think that this is a minor issue compared to map design or weapon balance, but visual consistency is part of the core experience. It's part of what separates a military-style shooter from an arcade one with a military theme. Battlefield earned its reputation by delivering authentic, large-scale military experiences. The series has always been about chaotic, combined arms combat, coordinated teamwork, and that feeling that you're part of a massive battlefield. When cosmetics break that immersion, they're not just changing how the game looks, they're changing what Battlefield fundamentally is. The beta showed there's a hungry audience for authentic military gameplay. Player numbers and community engagement proved that people want this type of experience. But if DICE prioritizes cosmetic revenue over that authenticity, they risk losing what made Battlefield special in the first place. The commitment to grounded cosmetics is a step in the right direction, but it's not enough. We need concrete commitments to preserving visual authenticity, and we need options for players who want the pure military experience. The technology exists, and I'm sure that this can be done given the resources that they have. The only question is whether DICE has the courage to prioritize long-term game integrity over short-term cosmetic sales. Because at the end of the day, the most immersive skin in Battlefield 6 should be the standard issue uniform that makes you look like every other soldier in your team. That's not boring, that's authentic. But I want to know where you stand on all this. Are you fine with cosmetics as long as they stay military themed? Do you want a toggle option to disable them entirely? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more deep dives into Battlefield 6 as we approach launch, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.